This is Tatsuya Omega, a Japanese-born attacking midfielder with the potential to be the best player in the world. And I'm going to attempt to control his transfers throughout his career to achieve the ultimate goal, becoming the first Asian Ballon d'Or winner. And to do that, we need a master plan. Because the 15-year-old from Osaka in Japan is starting off at his local club, FC Osaka, who is currently a new team in the third tier of Japanese football in the J3 League after just receiving promotion. He does, however, have all the attributes to achieve the end goal, including the potential ability of 190, but starting off with a very low reputation. So it was my job to decide where he moves every single transfer to hopefully achieve his end goal. However, there are a few rules that we need to abide by. Once again, I can only move into a club who is showing active interest in and not rumoured interest. And the club in question has to have the money to be able to sign him in their transfer budget. And the save game file that I was showing you the example of in then is the other caveat to this challenge, because I have also simulated throughout his whole career without touching any of the transfers myself to see if we can do better than what the AI would. Which is going to be a challenge in of itself, because not only did the first couple of seasons go well, but he got a fantastic move to the Bundesliga with Hoffenheim. So to kick things off, we have simulated the first season here in the J3 League at Osaka. What I've noticed, obviously he's 16 at the start, he does play quite a lot of games, so 35 games, 12 goals, 6 assists, 3 player of the matches. He's done really well, and Osaka, 18th place. That's just avoiding relegation by 4 points. So he's managed to keep them up. Now, as I said, what I've noticed in these, in the test one that I did and in the simulation one that I did where I didn't touch any of it, is that he doesn't leave until his contract runs out in 2025. So he usually has 3 years in Japan. Whether that's because his reputation doesn't really increase that much. Obviously, we can see he has gone up to around about 900 home reputation, but his world reputation is only about 800, and that's out of 10,000. So you need kind of his reputation to grow a little bit for these European clubs to find him. I was surprised that no other Japanese clubs would look to buy him, but hey, maybe that will happen in this instead. So we've got to August of 2024, and this is where usually you start to see clubs start to show interest in him, and actually active interest. This is where bids usually come in, because he's got about 6 months left of his contract now. His reputation is around about 1,100, 923 world reputation. And yes, he's looking quite good. Now, attribute-wise, he looks great, but he hasn't exactly put it on the pitch, although his average rating is higher for FC Osaka. But remember, they are one of the worst teams in their league. They got terrible training facilities and stuff. They are just about surviving in this division. They will have to put up a bit of a relegation scrap if they want to stay. So it's probably around about time that he will go. I'll just have to keep on going week by week before we start to see some interest. Sure enough, just a week later, we even have a bid, and there's a few clubs that actually want him, 5 in fact, which is great, and they're all active interest, including obviously Napoli, who have put their bid in. Now, obviously we decide where he goes, and we're going to base that on what club suits him best right now at this stage of his career, because again, yes, he looks amazing, and he's only 17 years of age, but he's only at 110 current ability. So what club is going to help him at this stage of his career the most to hopefully get to 190 as early as possible? There's no point moving into a club that may never give him first team football or isn't playing a tactic that will even fit his player role, because he can play across the front three. We've given him a lot of options here. Now, straight off the bat, let's have a look at Napoli, because they're the team that put the bid in. Walter Mazzari is their manager. They're currently 13th. Oh, it's because at the start of the season in Serie A. Now, great reputation. The training facilities is obviously 4-star, which is good. It's not amazing, but it's good. Tactically, though, this is where the problem lies, because why are they going to be signing him? And if Walter Mazzari stays there for a while because he's successful, he's never going to get a game, or they'll end up playing him out of position. So we ideally want a club who actually play a tactic that can fit his position in. Now we've got Arsenal, obviously better training facilities. They're in the Premier League. I think Arteta would use, obviously he uses wingers, but there's maybe too many players that are going to be stood in front of him in regards to first team football. So maybe we need to look elsewhere in that regard. To be honest, Liverpool's going to be exactly the same, although actually they've just lost their manager, so because that's definitely not their permanent manager. Jurgen Klopp's left. Where's he gone? PSG. Okay, so this current guy, we don't even know. We can't really judge. And right now he's playing a 4-4-2, so definitely not. So maybe we could just cancel Liverpool out completely. Manchester United are 5-star training facilities. Have you seen Carrington? They've got tactic is still Eric Ten Hag's 4-3-3. I don't think, I mean, they've still got the likes of Marcus Rashford and Garnacho, so I don't think he's going to be getting into the team anytime soon. Which leaves Eintracht Frankfurt. Now, Christian Ilzer is their manager. They've got good training facilities, 3.5 star. At this stage of his career, this is obviously the team out of those 5 who he is most likely to play with, because they are, all the other teams are in Europe. They've probably got stronger squads. And looking at this, now, although they play a 4-4-2 diamond narrow, Mario Götze is the one which obviously fills the role that he might go in. He's 32 and unhappy, wants to move to a bigger club. This could be the catalyst for allowing Mario Götze to go if we bring in Tatsuya Omega into Eintracht Frankfurt, which honestly, I'd absolutely love. So that's exactly what we did, and I used the in-game editor to transfer Tatsuya Omega to Eintracht Frankfurt for when his contract expires in the January European window. And on day 1, he's literally just joined Eintracht Frankfurt. Let's have a look at where he got to in his development. 110 current ability, so he didn't grow that much at FC Osaka, but he's got a long way to go to reach that potential. But again, he's only 17, so he's still got a lot of time ahead of him. To put into perspective, he played 65 games for FC Osaka and scored 19 goals, so he had some great seasons, and actually finished off that season with 10 assists and 10 player of the matches and a very good average rating in the J3 League, which hopefully they didn't get relegated in. That would have been nice. They did. He survived again. So, I mean, that's his parting gift, I guess, for FC Osaka, is that they didn't get relegated the 2 seasons that he was there. Now he can enjoy his time at Eintracht Frankfurt in the Bundesliga. It wasn't long before Frankfurt actually sacked their manager and hired Dejan Stankovic instead, which actually benefits Tetsuya because the system he plays has all 3 of his natural positions in a 4-2-3-1, and he's been getting some game time. He even scored an equaliser in a big game against Leipzig very late on, and it was the only goal so far, and he started a single game with appearances from the bench and received very little development while in Germany. Stankovic didn't last long in the job, unfortunately though, as Urs Fischer came in during December of the 2nd season, just a year after Tetsuya's move. Frankfurt ended the season in 9th position, but it wasn't the best season for Tatsuya Omega. Although it looks like he played 26 games, he actually only started 8 and scored 4 goals with just 1 assist. He does have another season of development under his belt though, and now sits at 132 current ability, age 19. Now in the test simulation where we didn't decide where he went in 2026, the same period of time, he ended up at Hoffenheim. Now this wasn't even an end of contract deal, they actually bought him for 245k. Seems like a bit of a steal. However, he seems a lot better than what he does in our version right now and looks a far better player, currently sitting at 139 current ability. So I'm not quite sure why, because he looks like he's played a similar amount of games, although Hoffenheim maybe has started him in more with 19 goals, 19 games there and 6 off the bench. And tactically, he looks like he's coming off the left-hand side in a 4-3-3. But Hoffenheim seem to be doing really well. They're currently sat in 3rd place right now. In his first season, they just survived relegation. So he's actually having quite a good impact in their side. And they actually finished that season in 4th place, which is absolutely phenomenal. They've got Patrick Vieira as their manager now. He still plays a 4-3-3. But look how good he is. So in 2027, he is up to this right now. 20 years of age. He looks absolutely fantastic. 149 current ability. Coming off a season of 10 goals and 3 assists. Let's see if he's done the same at Frankfurt. Now, we're not going to check the other simulation every season, but I think it's nice to just check in to see what happens and, of course, whether we actually beat their challenge. 2027 in our one, where we're deciding the transfers, but at Frankfurt, he's already requesting to leave. And there's 3 clubs, so we need to make a decision whether he actually goes. However, I am surprised at how good he's got compared to where we were sat just a season ago. And he's up to 152. So he's all of a sudden just leapfrogged his other world counterpart and playing amazing by the looks of it. Not amazing. Average rating wise, yeah, he's got 6 goals, 2 assists and 5 player of the matches. I think maybe it's because Frankfurt are not doing too great. They are currently sat in 14th place in the Bundesliga. In hindsight, it might not have been the best move, but then it might have been the fastest move to get to this point. And that's the whole point of this challenge to begin with. It would have been very easy to send him to one of those big Premier League clubs and just let him rot in the reserves and bide his time a little bit. Now he's got first team football. That next step to a big Premier League club will mean more and arguably get into the first team quicker. And I think that move to Eintracht Frankfurt definitely helped us get there. But I actually think, yes, it's time to move. And I think this could be the right time. Now, requesting a transfer means that we know he's only going to cost 64 million, despite him having his transfer value up to 95, which actually helps us in a way. But the clubs that are wanted, do they have that money? Now, active interest, all 3 are active interest, which is fine. Atletico Madrid are unwilling to make an offer while the transfer window is closed. I doubt you have the money anyway. It's Thomas Tuchel, they don't. They only have £25 million. They finish in 6th, and I don't think that would have been a good move. Atletico don't really tend to be that great on Football Manager. Even though Tuchel's really good as a manager anyway. Dalic is the manager of Tottenham, who finished in 8th place. They play a 4-3-3, so it could be a possibility. They have 4.5-star training facilities. They only have £2 million in their transfer budget. Have they just blown that on somebody? Doesn't look like, no, they don't really have much at all. So there's only one real option at the minute by the looks of it, and I think it might be Liverpool, who would fit into the starting 11 as well. As a reason, that's the best one that you want, right? The whole point of this is that we want him to have first team football. Pioli is the manager as well, who's I think is absolutely fantastic, and he plays a 4-3-3 wide according to his thing, and yes, he does. And if you're going off the players that he's got there right now, it could be the perfect time for a move to that club, because let's get rid of that and go attacking midfielders here. Yes, we've got Pedri, who again can play in a number of different positions, but seems to be occupying the centre midfield spot. Salah might be close to 35. He's unbelievable. I take that back. We got Jota going. Jota's going. We've got Darwin Núñez is still there, 27. I think he's more of a striker anyway, especially on his naturally. But I think we could get in there and be a better player. Szoboszlai is another one which kind of suits centre midfield a little bit more. So then it is literally just Curtis Jones. And is he a better player than Curtis Jones? I think so, on that left-hand side. Ben Doak is not quite there yet, but he tends to play on the right. So if you're going by left-hand side, Kevin Shade is the only other player in there, and he's better than him. I think we found our club. I actually do. So I think it's time we make a move. Tatsuya Omega. As much as I've enjoyed the fact that you were in an Eintracht Frankfurt shirt, it is time to move to Liverpool for, of course, £64 million, which is the transfer request option that we've seen right there. Good move. A year later, and I can confidently say it was a fantastic move. 25 starts in 32 games, 10 goals, 3 assists, and 4 player of the matches. And what a player we have now, attribute-wise, propelling himself up to 171 current ability at just 21 years old. And he's also now played 10 games for Japan, scoring 2 goals, who are currently ranked 17th in the world rankings. In the other simulation, he is still at Hoffenheim at this point, still with a very good growth, sitting at nearly 160. Also, not having much of an impact on the club due to having a bad broken foot injury. Returning back to our version of Tetsuya Omega, let's have a look then. He's aged 22 now, a season later in 2029. Still at Liverpool in the Premier League. I do have some concerns, however. Not with our player. He's 22 and he looks absolutely fantastic. And he's just like picking up player traits like left, right, and so every single season he seems to have developed a new player trait. And to be fair, his season has been his best so far with 14 goals, 6 assists, 7 player of the matches in 35 starts, 7.71 average rating. He has given me no concerns whatsoever, and if we take a look at his attribute, 182, he's almost close to the 190, potential, which is his maximum, of course, that he can get to. And you can tell that by just looking at him, that he had to be close to that. That's not my concern. It's Liverpool. That's my concern. They've changed their manager again to Gallardo, which that's like the third time that's happened. Well, he's been in charge for 2 years, to be fair. So Pioli was there originally, but he was sacked. But what I'm trying to say is they're not doing too good. Now, they still play a 4-3-3. He can still play in that system. They're sat in 5th. They're just nowhere near. Like, they're not contending. They're not doing much. Like, have they even got money? What's going on is they got £212 million, which suggests that they have got... Yeah, they got a Tycoon takeover. I mean, actually, that was when, like, he joined, I think. I believe he had a Tycoon takeover then. But are they spending it? 82 million, but 31 out. 113 million, but 104 out. 180 million, but 134 out. They're just not spending the money that they've got. So the players around Tatsuya Omega aren't getting any better, and they're not going to be challenging for Premier League. However, as we know, we can't move him unless somebody wants him. So I'm just going to have to stick by it for now and see what happens. So far, the only trophy Tatsuya managed to pick up is the Carabao Cup. And as we know, trophies help to achieve Ballon d'Ors. So another year at Liverpool followed an even better season with a whopping average rating in the Premier League, where Liverpool finished in 3rd place and edging ever so closer to the top. With Gallardo still in place, Tatsuya's attributes have excelled again, and looking at his current ability, we are almost at his maximum of 190, which is great to see. But what's even better is Liverpool's run in the Europa League, as they went all the way to the final and defeated Monaco 3-2, with Tatsuya scoring 2 of the goals and winning man of the match, picking up his first major trophy in excellent fashion. In the AI simulation, a similar scenario is unfolding, as Tatsuya a couple of seasons later also moved to Liverpool for £94 million, and he has definitely jumped up in ability to now reaching 186, so a lot of comparisons are happening. Internationally, our Tatsuya Omega took his Japanese team all the way to the final of the Asian Cup, beating Thailand in the final and scoring the 2nd goal as well, which is another trophy added to his cabinet and the competition's most valuable player too. Domestic football though, Liverpool slumped down to 4th place, despite Tatsuya having an extremely high average rating and scoring the most goals in one season so far in his career. And in the same season, the AI simulation, he's won the Premier League with Liverpool. I was just thinking in my head as this season drew to a close, the following season, 2032, that maybe we would need a move. And I was praying that we would, and we've got a wanted sign, so that's perfect. But before we have a look at who it is and whether they can even afford him, let's have a look at this season, shall we? So Tatsuya Omega, 25 years of age now, coming into the prime of his career, and he looks absolutely phenomenal, and he's at that 190. He has reached his maximum potential, and he's got probably the maximum amount of player traits as well. This season, though, was his best. 18 goals, 6 assists, 9 player of the matches, 7.75 average rating in 33 games. All of them were starting as well for Liverpool, finishing 4th, still under Gallardo. I feel like they're not pushing it any further. So Newcastle won the league, with Chelsea finishing in 2nd place there, who've got Evan Ferguson. Tatsuya Omega actually finished 2nd highest scorer in the league, even though he is a winger and predominantly played out on that left, I'd imagine, probably. So, I mean, yeah, he played on the left 52 times this season, 27 goals. So, any milestones? They won the FA Cup this season. That's good. That's very good, in fact. So, after winning the Asian Cup last season, the season before winning the Europa League, this season, the FA Cup. So, he's now won 3 big trophies in 3 seasons. But I still feel like Liverpool are not really pushing him to what he could do. £125 million spent, but £71 million out suggests that we're not really going up in the world here. No big money. It's a lot of little money being spent. So, who's he wanted by? Let's have a look. It's Chelsea, and it's active interest. Now, the trouble is he's probably worth way too much. 130 to 389. So it's not a no, but Chelsea would have to have like close to 200 to even consider it being realistic. I think that's the trouble. They got Maurizio Pochettino still, Remember, they are second in the Champions League. Did they do anything in the... They got to the semi-final of the FA Cup and quarter-final of the Champions League, but 179. Now, the last thing I want to check is the players around, and I think we could be good. We could be gravy here. So attacking midfielders, Enzo Fernandez don't count. Yeremy Pino is obviously going to be a contender, but at the same time is going to help the team. Nusa, he's definitely better than Nusa. He is definitely better than Nusa. Carlo Byron, looks like quite a good new gen coming through. Same as Carter. Yeah, he's not a bad new gen either, but I still think he's better. They got Joe Rego. Oh, but he's transferring out. So that might be why they are looking at doing this then. Gyökeres as well as on the bench, who can't play there naturally. That might be why they are actually looking at bringing him in. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to activate it. I think it's going to cost their whole budget. It's got to, because at the minute, he is absolutely exceptional. But for 179 million, I think we move to Chelsea and take the risk. Because although they're still in the Premier League, although there's still quite a lot of components that can prevent him from winning the league, I think being a Chelsea player is going to help him. Let's find out. Now, I think I was right, because as we can see, an even better season with his first in blue. However, he is currently unhappy after the Chelsea side failed to reach the latter stages of the Champions League, and that's because they could only make it to the round of 16 before being eliminated by AC Milan. They also dropped to third in the Premier League, and he had the second highest amount of goals and average rating. But incredibly, Tatsuya Omega finished in second place in last year's Ballon d'Or for his time at Liverpool, only behind the second coming of Mahrez, the Algerian right winger Buonanni at Man City. We are within touching distance. We just really need to hope his form continues and we win the big one. And I definitely think he can do that in a Chelsea shirt. Oh, that's made it harder. So, in the simulation with the AI, Tatsuya Omega is the Ballon d'Or winner. So we know he's capable of it. He's done it at Liverpool after a phenomenal season, by the way. 27 goals, 16 assists, obviously from that left-hand side. And Liverpool won the league with him there. I think he was Premier League champion the season before it. So I don't know whether it counted towards that. But yeah, it must have. 2034. So yeah, he's gone on and won the Ballon d'Or. And we finished in second. And now that makes it even harder. Because if I want to completely beat the AI, I need to at least win it twice. I'm struggling to even win it once. Even more annoyingly is our version finished runners-up 2 years in a row. 2 in a row sucks, man. But there is positives with this, right? Because if we have a look, he's wanted. Now, he's wanted by Bayern Munich. That's maybe, because they're going to have to cough up a lot of money, which I don't think they'll have, but we'll have to find out in a sec. However, I just glanced through, and Chelsea have just won the Premier League. That means he had the highest average rating for the Premier League winners. And if he wins some kind of, I mean, they won the Carabao Cup as well, English Footballer of the Year, Champions League Golden Boot, European Men's Player of the Year Award, runners-up. He's getting ever so close. He won that last year. He's put in an unbelievable season. If we take a look, this season, 17 goals, 12 assists, 12 players of the match. Nearly an 8 average rating in 34 games. This could be the year. Now, Bayern Munich is active interest, but I don't think they'll have enough money. Nowhere near £55 million. Now, I'll keep tabs on it throughout the summer, but I can't see them ever selling enough players to reach like over 200 million. And Chelsea's not going to sell him realistically for less than what they paid for right now at this point in his career when he's, what is he, 27 in his prime. They're not going to do that, especially after just winning the league. They don't need to do that. So right now, they're not in any financial trouble or anything like that. No need. So I think he's going to be staying put, but he's doing everything he can to put himself in contention. The following season, though, a drop-off in performance after missing a big chunk of games, only scoring 12 goals and getting 6 assists. Along with Chelsea dropping down to 6th place in the Premier League, causing Pochettino to be sacked as Tatsuya's manager. However, he's got it! Tatsuya Omega, the first Asian Ballon d'Or winner ever. He's in a Chelsea shirt after 27 goals, 15 assists. Thankfully, it counted for last season, and we have done it. Second place, Lamine Yamal. Buonanni in third. thank God for that. However, now it's just 1-1. And the ultimate task of winning the Ballon d'Or, that's just one of the challenges that we face in this video. The other is beating the AI. I can't let the AI beat me here. We need more. He's only 27. We probably know this season's going to be a write-off. But hopefully, we can continue getting better and better, and maybe we can win another one. Maybe even a third, who knows. But what I failed to account for is that the AI would go back-to-back and winning a second Ballon d'Or. Oh, you see, the trouble is, Liverpool in this universe are winning the Premier League, dominating in a way. So I don't think he's won a Champions League, but when you win the best league in the world domestically, you're going to stand a chance if nobody else is a big outperformer, I guess. And in our universe, at Chelsea, he's dropped down to 6th place. We've just got to hope whoever they bring in can actually transform Chelsea back into what they were. Because now we're 2-1 behind again. And now I feel very underwhelmed after our first win. Which originally I thought I was going to be buzzing with. But the fact that they went 1-0 up and then it's 2-1, it's tough to take. We try again though. Thankfully, he didn't win a third and even failed to finish in the top 3. But Chelsea, back in our universe, brought in an exciting new manager in Nagelsmann, bringing Chelsea back into 3rd place, with Tatsuya also winning the Golden Boot. Now playing in the number 10 role behind Evan Ferguson. But once again, Tatsuya Omega took his club to a Europa League final and scored to lift it a second time. Is that enough for another Ballon d'Or though? Come on. I'll come back early in November to see if he's done it. Yes! He did! Season without, where he wasn't even in the top 3, but he's in it again. And he's won it. 33 goals, 10 assists. Europa League is somehow good enough for Tatsuya Omega to win another Ballon d'Or, second. Right, that's great. Where are you at the minute? 3rd. Luis Enrique's the manager. Brighton's ahead, so you'd like to... Oh, Man City are running away with it. We need the 3rd, because we're only matching for 2-2 now. We need a 3rd. Now, I decided to go really far ahead in the AI simulation to see whether Tatsuya Omega won any more, and he didn't. Lamine Yamal won the next 3, and then this guy called Wilmer Carrazza, who's nowhere near as good, won for AC Milan. Yamal won another, and then this man won, who probably deservedly won it, a 30-year-old Belgium. However, he's 35. He stayed at Liverpool the whole time. I was just waiting for him to move, but he's never moved. They've played him out of position sometimes, and he's won Europa Leagues and Carabao Cups, FA Cups, won the Premier League a few times. But I think we can safely say he won't win another. I mean, his numbers have started to drop off. Maybe I'll just go a little bit further till he retires and just make sure that we only have to get one more. That's what we got to hope. All right, well, that took longer than I expected. Another 3 seasons, in fact. But he's finally retiring. He stayed at Liverpool the whole time. Still looks amazing, doesn't he? Annoyingly. Had a great last season, but the 2 seasons before, when I was checking, I wasn't worried at all. So I've got a feeling we don't have to worry about it. I very much doubt he would have won one after those 2 tragic seasons, and no, he didn't. Although there is a Spanish guy called Lin Wu, he might still be the only Asian Ballon d'Or winner. But there we go. So we just need to win one more in our simulation with our man at Chelsea just about to turn 30, I think. So we're 8 years ahead on this. One more, please. The following season was another season within touching distance, finishing 2nd only to Lamine Yamal. But with Chelsea winning another Premier League and Tatsuya putting in some crazy numbers on the wings, I had hope, but probably my biggest fear came true with this challenge. You see, what I've learned from doing challenges where you have to win the Ballon d'Or is that the player in question you're trying to win the Ballon d'Or tends to kind of need to be the best player in the team. And that's our problem now. Carlo Byron has just won it as a Chelsea player. So anything that Chelsea do, we have a risk of Carlo Byron being the main man or the lead guy to lift the Ballon d'Or instead of Tatsuya Omega. And that's the risk you run, I guess, in doing these challenges. And I actually think it's the same guy as what we've seen previously that they had for £5.5 million. That guy's turned out to be phenomenal. Now, he probably... Yeah, so he's at 188 current ability, which is roughly the same as Tatsuya Omega, and you think, oh, that's fine. But the trouble is, because Tetsuya Omega has attribute points in playing centre attacking midfield and playing left midfield to give us the option in where he plays a little bit more. That means that Carlo Byron has more attribute points to put into attributes. So he probably performs as a better player, and why he looks better than our man in question, Tatsuya Omega, who, as you can see here, still looks phenomenal, but 190. And I don't think he looks as good as Carlo does. Maybe in your eyes he does. It obviously depends on what you're fancying now. And of course he has fairly strong left foot, which again eats into attribute points. So I stopped again in November to see if he had won it. He had a great season last season, and I thought, hey, this could be another one. This really puts a spanner in the works because Carlo Byron is younger. He's been at Chelsea for a long time. He could be the reason why we don't complete this challenge, funny enough. A £5.5 million Chilean new gen. Right, so I've gone another 18 months into the future. So I've gone like a season and a half, basically. I could have stopped and shown what happened in the last Ballon d'Or, but I was kind of annoyed because he had an amazing season. In fact, it was like his third best. 15 player of the matches with a 7.91 average rating, 18 goals. And if you take a look at the Ballon d'Or, he didn't even finish in the top 3. Now, I'm guessing it's because Chelsea didn't do much. Because did they win anything recently? They become runners-up in the Champions League, which is why, again, I thought we could be in for a shout here. So they almost won the Champions League. I really thought that he would possibly do that. Because he was Champions League player of the season before that. Premier League winners. Because you got to remember, it's always the season before. This season, they didn't do too well. They finished in second place. It's still alright, to be fair. Like 84 points is still amazing. You've got the two guys there up the top. But I genuinely thought, and I think he needs to move. I don't know where. He could ideally need a move because whatever they do now, Byron's going to almost overshadow him. If that makes sense. He needs to be the main guy in an overachieving team, I guess. I mean, for Japan, he's doing amazing. He's doing great stuff internationally. Yeah, I don't know. I think he might need a move here. The trouble is, I can't move him unless anybody wants him. Nobody's coming in just yet. He's still extremely high valued because he's not dropping off. 184. It's not dropping off. We need a move, and I can't get one yet. A move never came, and Chelsea dropped to 4th place in the Premier League. Luis Enrique also left to go to Inter Milan, and Terzic took charge of Chelsea. And the Ballon d'Or was being won by Manchester City's players, while Carlo Byron was finishing in 2nd place and another Chelsea player in 3rd. A French attacking midfielder you basically could compare to Zidane, really. The guy is absolutely phenomenal in that centre midfield role. Tetsuya's time was running out with him being 34, and that's when we encountered the killer blow. It's the dreaded Saudi Arabia have come in for the player, and there's no way of stopping him from moving. And if he goes to Saudi Arabia, we can definitely kiss any Ballon d'Ors goodbye. I very much doubt he's ever going to win anything there unless Japan somehow win the World Cup. But I think he retired from international football years ago. So we'll see if he moves. But £35 million to Al Hilal. He's wanted by 3 other Saudi Arabian sides. And he didn't exactly have a great season. So even if he does go there, we can't try and count on his last season being good enough to actually win one. That season before was great, but that one is not. That's a bang average one in comparison to how well he's been doing for the last, 10 years. Because single digits... He hasn't had that since his time at Frankfurt. It's the last time he had single-digit goals in a league domestic competition. So yeah, I think that is the killer blow. Some 450 grand a week just at Chelsea, age 34. They probably are looking to get him off their books, really. Nope, it couldn't be stopped. Tatsuya Omega moves to Al Hilal. The dream is over, I believe, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us on the journey. At the very least, we managed to get some Ballon d'Ors on the board. We've won 2. Wasn't back-to-back, but 2 in 3 years is absolutely phenomenal. And the amount of times he become runner-up as well, or was just involved, is amazing. I definitely think the winger is easier to do than the striker. And if you haven't seen the striker version that we did, Kelvin Omega from Nigeria, We started him in the English non-leagues. I'll put that on screen. But I hope you really enjoyed this. If you have, please make sure you subscribe because I'll be doing more challenges like this. Maybe you want to see me do it with a centre midfielder. Maybe you want to see me try it with a centre back and see if I can win a Ballon d'Or with a defender. Can it be done? Well, I guess I'll try and find out. Let me know down in the comments if you have any other suggestions, please. And if you haven't watched Glory Hunter, I'll put that on the screen here for you as well. Thank you very much. Enjoy.